Hey, this is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Samsung SSD 980 NVMe M.2 drive. It has a read speed of 3,500 megabytes per second. So let's get this sucker open, shall we? Alright, now we're going to open up the laptop so that we can put in the new drive. Make sure that the power cord is not plugged in and that the power is off to the system. I like to unscrew the screws in a way that I put them right next to the holes they're supposed to go into, so that later on, if the screws are different sizes than the other holes, then it's not a big deal. In this case, some of the screws stay in the back, so it makes it a lot easier to not lose the screws. So I got the back plate off. This is where the main drive is, and this is the secondary drive. We're going to put the drive in here. First, we're going to remove the screw that was in its place. This holds down the SSD so that it doesn't move around. So we're going to put it in. Make sure that you have the right stick on the right section of this part, and that the screw hole lines up with the screw hole here. So we're going to stick it in. Make sure that it's nice and tight in there. And then we're going to screw the little screw back in to hold it in place. Stick the screw back in to the screwdriver. And then screw it. Don't over tighten it or you might ruin the drive. Just enough to hold it down so it doesn't wobble around while you're using it. And then I'll put back on the cover. Make sure the cover is snapped all the way in. Alright, now we're going to turn on the system, and I'm going to meet you back here in the computer. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is format the drive to work with our system. So we're going to load up the disk partition manager, and we're going to use the GUID partition because the master boot record is limited to only a 2 terabyte drive, which doesn't matter in this case, but there are other benefits to using this GBT partition. We're going to right click on the unallocated space in disk 1, which is our drive. We're going to select new simple volume. We're going to make sure that the simple value size is the same as the maximum value size. And then we're going to assign a letter to it. I have a disk drive that's drive D, so we're going to use drive E. I'm going to do an NTFS format. You can also do exFAT. And we're going to call the volume storage. You can enable compression folder, but we're not going to do that because we're going to use it to actively edit this video. I'm going to now show you the speed tests. So this is a program called Crystal Disk Manager. We're going to set it to the highest file size, and we're going to make sure we select the drive we want and the NVMe SSD. So it's going to run through 5 tests each. 2 are sequential and 2 are random. The last 2 items show the operations per second, and the very last one is the time in seconds it takes to run the operations. So we can see the speed doesn't quite make it to 3,500 megabytes per second, but it comes pretty close and it's pretty fast. Now we're going to run the same test using the Samsung software. And it's a little bit higher read speed. I don't expect this drive to get to 3,500 megabytes per second as it was described, but it got pretty fast. So that's the Samsung SSD 980. Thanks for watching.